They're winning, and you don't even know the game is being played. Right now, someone is extracting value from you. Someone is positioning themselves above you in a hierarchy you never agreed to join. Someone is reading you like an open book, while you can't even see the pages in theirs. And the worst part? You're helping them do it. Every time you react too quickly. Every time you explain yourself when you don't need to. Every time you feel an uncomfortable silence because you can't stand the tension. You're bleeding power, drop by drop, moment by moment, until you're running on empty and wondering why people don't respect you the way they should. Machiavelli discovered something 5 centuries ago that still terrifies people today. Human beings are not what they pretend to be. We're all playing roles, wearing masks, following scripts we learned before we could think critically about them. And the people who win, the ones who dominate every room they walk into without raising their voice, they know something you're about to learn. They know the 7 invisible levers that control human behavior. They know which psychological buttons to push, which silences to hold, which vulnerabilities to reveal, and which to bury. They know the game. And starting tomorrow morning, so will you. But here's the catch. Once I show you these 7 tactics, once you see how power really moves between people, you can't unsee it. You'll watch your next conversation like you're reading sheet music while everyone else just hears noise. You'll feel the manipulation attempts before they land. You'll understand why certain people make you uncomfortable and others make you want to follow them. This knowledge is a one-way door. And on the other side of that door is a version of you that's deeply, profoundly unsettling to anyone who tries to control you. So if you're ready to stop being the mark and start being the player, subscribe right now. Drop a fire emoji in the comments if you're done being controlled. Because what comes next isn't theory. These are 7 tactical weapons you'll deploy tomorrow and watch every power dynamic in your life shift immediately. Let's begin. I'm going to give you 7 Machiavellian tactics that operate in the invisible layer of human interaction. The layer most people don't even know exists. These tactics aren't loud, they're not aggressive, they're surgical, precise. The psychological equivalent of a blade so sharp you don't feel it cut until you see the blood. By the end of this video, you'll know how to weaponize silence, how to reflect manipulation back like light off a mirror, how to use calculated weakness as bait, and how to become so psychologically unreadable that people can't predict you, can't leverage you, can't control you. Every single tactic can be deployed tomorrow, but you have to watch until the end, because tactic 7 is the one that makes you truly dangerous. That's the one that ties everything together into a complete system. That's the one manipulators pray you never learn. Now let's expose the power you're giving away right now. Every time someone asks you a question and you answer immediately, you lose. Every time someone makes a request and you respond with explanation or justification, you lose. Every time you feel an uncomfortable silence because you can't handle the tension, you lose. You think you're being polite, being helpful, being normal. But what you're actually doing is training people that you're controllable, that you're predictable, that you'll react exactly how they expect when they apply the right pressure. Machiavelli wrote that the wise man does in the beginning what the fool does in the end. Most people give away their position, their thoughts, their intentions immediately. Then they spend the rest of the interaction trying to regain ground they never had to surrender. You're about to learn to do the opposite, to hold your ground from the first moment, to make others come to you instead of rushing toward them. Starting with Tactic 1. Tactic 1 is strategic silence. Not the silence of having nothing to say. The silence of having everything to say and choosing not to. Here's how it works. Tomorrow, when someone asks you a question, especially a probing one, especially one designed to extract information or put you on the defensive, you pause. 3 seconds, minimum. You look at them. You let the question hang in the air like smoke. You watch them start to get uncomfortable with the silence they created. Then, and only then, you respond. But not with everything. with exactly what you choose to reveal and nothing more. Watch what happens. That 3-second pause does something to people's nervous systems. It breaks their script. They asked a question expecting an immediate reactive answer. Instead, they get stillness, calculation, the sense that you're deciding whether they're worth the information they're asking for. That pause communicates more than any words could. It says, "I'm not in a rush. I'm not eager to please you. I'm not going to dance to your rhythm." And people feel that. It unsettles them, because suddenly they realize you're not playing the game they thought you were playing. Use this tomorrow in every interaction where someone is trying to extract something from you. Information, commitment, reaction, anything. Pause. Hold the silence. Make them sit in the discomfort of waiting for you. You'll notice something immediately. People start treating you differently. They become more careful with their words, more respectful with their requests, because you've demonstrated something without saying it directly. You've demonstrated that you're not reactive, that you're not easily moved, that you operate on your own timing, not theirs. Tactic 2 is the mirror protocol. This is how you handle emotional manipulation. When someone tries to make you angry, anxious, guilty, any emotion designed to move you toward their desired outcome, you don't absorb it. You reflect it. Here's the technique. When someone comes at you with emotional energy, you respond with absolute calm and a simple observation. They say something designed to provoke you. You pause, using tactic 1. Then you say something like, "You seem upset about this," or "I notice this is bringing up strong feelings for you." You're not engaging with the content of their manipulation. You're reflecting their emotional state back at them like a mirror reflects light. This is devastatingly effective because it does 2 things simultaneously. First, it refuses to play the game they're trying to initiate. They want you reactive and emotional. You're giving them calm observation. Second, it forces them to confront their own emotional state. They're trying to manipulate you, and suddenly they're the one being analyzed. The power dynamic inverts instantly. They came to move you. Instead, you've made them examine themselves. Machiavelli understood that the appearance of calm is often more powerful than actual strength. When you mirror someone's emotions back at them while remaining completely centered yourself, you create a psychological effect that's deeply unsettling. You become unpredictable, unmanageable, dangerous in the most sophisticated way. Use this tomorrow when someone tries to emotionally leverage you. Watch them deflate when their tactic bounces off your stillness. Tactic 3 is calculated vulnerability. This is advanced. This is where we move into morally gray territory. And this is where you need to understand something. Machiavelli didn't write The Prince for saints. He wrote it for people who wanted to operate effectively in a world where others play by rules you didn't agree to. Calculated vulnerability is the strategic revelation of weakness to create trust that you'll exploit later. Here's how it works. You identify something true about yourself that's mildly vulnerable. Not your deepest wound. Not something that actually gives someone power over you. Something that makes you seem human and relatable without exposing your throat. Then, in a strategic moment with someone you're building influence with, you reveal it. You create a moment of apparent intimacy. You let them think they're seeing behind your walls. And what happens? They trust you more. They think they understand you. They think they have insight into who you really are. But what you've actually done is given them controlled access to a carefully selected piece of information while your real self remains completely hidden. You've satisfied their need to feel like they know you without actually giving them anything they can use against you. This is the tactic manipulators use on empathetic people constantly. And now, you know how it works, which means you can deploy it, and you can recognize when it's being deployed on you. Tomorrow, in a conversation with someone you're building a strategic relationship with, reveal something minor, something vulnerable but not important. Watch how their demeanor changes. Watch how they start treating you like an ally instead of an unknown. You've just purchased trust with currency that costs you nothing. That's Machiavellian efficiency. Drop "I see the game" in the comments if you're starting to understand how deep this goes. Tactic 4 is the observation position. Most people live life as participants. They're in the game, reacting, responding, engaging. You're going to start operating as an observer. Here's the shift. In your next social interaction, instead of focusing on what you're going to say or how you're being perceived, focus entirely on watching everyone else. Watch their tells. Watch who defers to whom. Watch who fills silences and who holds them. Watch the micro-expressions, the power plays, the unspoken hierarchies. When you shift to observation mode, two things happen. First, you stop being reactive because you're not participating in the moment-to-moment emotional flow. You're watching it from a half-step removed. Second, you start seeing patterns that participants miss. You understand the room in ways that people caught up in performance never can. This is how you become strategic instead of reactive. This is how you move from being a piece on the board to being a player moving pieces. Machiavelli wrote that before all else, be armed. He wasn't just talking about weapons. He was talking about information. The observation position arms you with information that others don't have because they're too busy performing to see what's actually happening. Use this tomorrow. In your next meeting, your next social gathering, your next family dinner, stop participating and start observing. You'll be shocked what you see when you stop being seen. Tactic 5 pairs with Tactic 4. It's the delayed reaction. Once you're in observation mode, you'll start noticing something. Most people react immediately to everything. Someone says something, they respond instantly. Someone makes a move, they counter right away. This makes them predictable. This makes them controllable. You're going to do the opposite. When something happens that would normally trigger an immediate reaction from you, you're going to observe it, note it, and then decide hours or even days later how and whether to respond. This does something powerful. It breaks the action-reaction loop that most social dynamics run on. People say something expecting your immediate emotional response. When they don't get it, when you simply acknowledge and move on, they don't know what to do with that. They can't read you. They can't predict you, and unpredictability is power. Tomorrow, when someone does something that would normally get an immediate reaction from you, just observe it. Say something neutral like "interesting" or "I'll think about that," and then actually think about it. Respond on your timeline if you respond at all. Watch how this shifts every dynamic you're in. Tactic 6 is selective authenticity. Here's the paradox. The most powerful people aren't the ones who hide everything. They're the ones who choose exactly what to reveal and when. You're going to start treating your authenticity like a strategic resource. In most interactions, you reveal nothing real. You're pleasant, professional, appropriately engaged, but you're showing them a version of yourself that's been carefully curated for public consumption. Then, in specific moments with specific people, you drop the performance entirely. You become completely, almost unsettlingly, authentic. This creates a psychological effect that's incredibly powerful. Most people experience you as controlled and somewhat distant. Then suddenly, in a chosen moment, you let them see something real. The contrast is staggering. They feel like they've been given access to something precious. They feel chosen, and people who feel chosen become loyal. Meanwhile, you've only shown them what you decided to show them. Your real self, your actual thoughts, your genuine vulnerabilities, those remain protected. You're authentic on your terms, not theirs. Use this tomorrow. Be appropriately distant with most people. Then, with one person who you're strategically investing in, drop the walls for 5 minutes. Let them see something real. Watch how their entire orientation toward you changes. You've just created an ally using nothing but calculated honesty. Tactic 7 is the void. This is the most unsettling tactic, and it's the one that makes everything else more powerful. The void is simple. You stop filling space. You stop filling silences. Stop filling gaps in conversation. Stop filling other people's emotional needs. Stop filling any vacuum that isn't yours to fill. Most people are so uncomfortable with emptiness that they rush to fill every gap. You're going to do the opposite. You're going to let the gaps exist. Let the silences stretch. Let people sit in their own discomfort. Let them work to bridge the distance instead of you always being the one building bridges. Here's what happens when you master the void. You become a gravitational force. Nature abhors a vacuum. When you create psychological empty space and don't rush to fill it, others will fill it for you. They'll move toward you. They'll seek your approval because you're clearly not seeking theirs. They'll try to fill the silence because you're comfortable in it. They'll work for your attention because you're not giving it freely. The void makes you magnetic without any effort on your part. You're not pursuing, you're not performing, you're simply being completely comfortable with emptiness. And that comfort is so rare that it draws people in. Tomorrow, stop filling gaps. When there's a silence in conversation, sit in it. When someone wants your attention, make them work for it slightly. When people expect you to rush toward them, stay still and let them come to you. This single shift will change every relationship dynamic you have. Because you've stopped being the one who needs the connection. You've become the one people need to connect with. Drop "I am the void" in the comments if you understand what this means. Now here's how all 7 tactics work together. Strategic silence gives you control of timing and information flow. The mirror protocol protects you from emotional manipulation. Calculated vulnerability creates trust you can leverage. The observation position gives you information others don't have. Delayed reaction makes you unpredictable. Selective authenticity creates powerful bonds on your terms. And the void makes people come to you instead of you going to them. Together, these 7 tactics create a complete system of psychological positioning that makes you deeply unsettling to manipulators and deeply magnetic to everyone else. But here's the warning. These tactics work. They work so well that you need to be careful how you use them. Machiavelli understood something crucial. Power without purpose becomes tyranny. These tactics give you power over social dynamics. But power is only valuable if you use it for something. If you deploy these tactics just to control people, just to feel superior, just to manipulate for manipulation's sake, you'll become the thing you probably hate. You'll become a manipulator using people as objects. The ethical use of these tactics is defensive and strategic. Use them to protect yourself from manipulation. Use them to create space for your authentic goals. Use them to build relationships with people you genuinely value. Use them to make yourself unsettling to predators while remaining open to genuine connection with genuine people. These tactics are a shield and a sword. Make sure you know when you're defending and when you're attacking. Make sure you know why you're using them. Tomorrow morning, you wake up with 7 new tools. Strategic silence. The mirror protocol. Calculated vulnerability. The observation position. Delayed reaction. Selective authenticity. The void. You deploy them in your first interaction. You watch the dynamic shift immediately. You notice people treating you differently. You feel the power balance change. And you have a choice to make. Will you use this power to become free? Or will you use it to become another manipulator in a world that already has too many? Machiavelli wrote that it's better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But he also wrote that the wise prince seeks to be neither feared nor loved, but respected. Respect comes from strength used judiciously, from power deployed strategically, from being someone who could manipulate but chooses not to unless necessary. That's what these 7 tactics can make you. Someone who understands the game so well that you don't have to play it. Someone so psychologically sophisticated that you're unsettling to manipulators and magnetic to everyone else. The old you gave away power unconsciously. The new you controls every exchange strategically. The old you reacted. The new you observes and chooses. The old you filled every silence and gap. The new you sits comfortably in the void and lets others come to you. This is the transformation. This is what tomorrow looks like when you actually use what you've learned here. If this video changed how you see every interaction you'll have for the rest of your life, subscribe. Turn on notifications, because every video on this channel is designed to give you tactical psychological advantage in a world where most people are playing a game they don't understand. Join the people who see the game clearly. Drop "I see it all" in the comments. Share this with someone who needs to stop being manipulated and start being strategic. Your transformation starts tomorrow morning. Welcome to the other side.